So, my name's Elaina Patten. I am a ninth grader at Capitol High School. I'm a member of the Montana Youth Leadership Board, and I'm also working on my Gold Award project. So I became interested in fighting childhood hunger when last year there was this girl in my English class that would just come in looking tired and drained. And I offered her my orange, and she just took it and lit up. And so for the next few days, I kept offering her bits and pieces of my lunch. And then I finally asked my mom if we can pack her sort of like a small lunch. I would give her a sandwich and a piece of fruit. And now this year I have no classes with her, I hardly see her. And I often wonder if she has enough food to eat throughout lunch and even at home. So to continue with my Gold Award project, I worked on a Journey Award that had to do with learning about where food comes from and how it gets to your plate, and that not everybody has enough food to eat. As part of my Take Action project, I worked with Ms. Patten, the counselor at Capitol High School, who's in charge of the food pantry. What I would do was go in and restock and organize the shelves. I did food drives throughout the year to help her out. And the food drive, or the pantry, is just supplied on her getting donations from different businesses. So there's orange envelopes on your table, roughly in the middle. And we're looking for, if you guys are willing to put some cash in there, I guess, to help support the Capitol Food Pantry. She was the one who encouraged me to apply for the Youth Leadership Council to fight childhood hunger. Most people don't realize that both Helena High and Capitol High have their own food pantries. It surprises them sometimes to oh, they have a food pantry and there's not just Helena Food Share for them. The food pantry needs to have easy opened and microwavable type food. So these kids that necessarily are couch surfing out there can go to a convenience store and just put them in the microwave and they have their quick meal right there. So over the years, there's different programs for families and elementary kids to get, there's the backpack program, and then Food Share helps with families. But there's not many programs that help out with the high schoolers that are on their own, because we think of them more as an adult. So you might not think they need as much help as elementary kids and middle schoolers. But there are roughly 3,000 high school kids that are considered homeless, and that's doubled over the past 10 years. So the Hunger Dinner today is going to address, over the state of Montana, the different income classes. So your dinner is based upon that. So if you were sitting at a brown placemat with a brown napkin, you have the lowest income. So you'll be receiving a meal based on that. And then the middle income has the oranges placemats. You'll be receiving the middle income places. And then the ones with the blue and the fancy red napkin are going to receive the highest. And there's only 5 of you out there with them.
I'm low income. I never take my money.
So there's only 5 higher class people out there. So after I get talking, we're going to have First Lady Bullock come up and speak, and then we're going to have Rochelle come up and speak a little bit about food insecurity around Montana, and then we're going to have Selena come up and speak about her own experiences with it. So now we have First Lady Bullock coming up. So
thank you for inviting Steve and me to this event, and I commend your maturity. I thought you were a sophomore. You said you were a freshman, right? You are a sophomore in high school. Okay, sophomore in high school. I think about what Steve and I were doing when we were sophomores in high school, and if you reflect a little bit back when you were sophomores in high school, I'll speak for myself. I did not have the maturity or the service-oriented heart that you do. So thank you for that. I still get nervous. I don't know if I'd have the courage to get up in front of a group like this in a noisy but beautiful forum to put on such an event. So you are so to be commended, and it's just an honor to be here. To let you know, Elaina is part of, it's the Youth Leadership Council that Steve and I have created, and it's a group of about 19 middle school and high school students around 16 of our communities across the state who are helping raise awareness of childhood hunger. When we first started this in 2014, about 1 in 5. So if you think about your table, one person is going to stand up and they are food insecure. In our first world country, in our first world state, in our agricultural state, it's a staggering statistic. So exceptional minds and hearts like Elaina's are throughout our state developing projects like this to help raise awareness of where childhood hunger is in our state, to help fill food pantries like she mentioned in both Capitol High and Helena High School, and doing a number of service-oriented projects. So it's an honor for Steve and I to share this event with you. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you to those of you who are sitting at tables out there. Thank you for giving up your time to participate in this event. Thank you.
And stuff about food insecurity, and we're going to be we'll be also serving you guys at the same time, so feel free. Here's Rochelle.
Awesome, thank you for having me. Thank you all for being here today and for spending an hour of your busy schedules with us. So I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator at No Kid Hungry, and Elaina asked me to come and talk for about 10 minutes about food insecurity and childhood hunger in Montana. So our food insecurity rate here is 12.3%. That means about 128,000 individuals in Montana have their diets compromised in either quantity or quality. So potentially that means they have to buy less nutritious food because of a tight budget, or it might be more severe that folks are skipping meals in order to make their food dollars stretch throughout the month. And this issue is exacerbated in children. So like First Lady Bullock said, we have a 1 in 6 child food insecurity rate here in Montana. These numbers are going down. We're making progress. That was 1 in 5 in 2016, but it has gone down to 1 in 6 in recent years, which is really exciting. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about a few contributing factors to food insecurity. So one big cause or contributing factor is employment and unemployment and underemployment. So obviously our unemployment rate is historically low right now in Montana. So why is that still an issue? No Kid Hungry has done a lot of focus groups across the state in Helena, Augusta, Lincoln, Gallatin County, in Whitefish and Columbia Falls, and a lot of folks talked about challenges to entering the workforce and barriers to entering the workforce, like affordable child care and access to transportation. So that is a big contributing factor to food insecurity as well. Another example is underemployment, and a parent that we talked to here at Head Start in Helena was sharing her experience with getting hired at a local restaurant, expecting expecting it to be a full-time position, and then only getting shifts 2 or 3 days a week and trying to feed her family on that. So for her, employment issues were directly related to food insecurity. In addition to that is competing expenses. So low-income folks in our state spend over half of their overall income on housing costs, which doesn't leave a lot of money left over for food and utilities and other everyday expenses. Another contributing factor is access to food. So 30 out of 56 of our Montana counties have areas that are food deserts, which basically means that folks that live there have to travel over 10 miles to get access to food. And an example of that is on our Blackfeet Reservation. That's about 1.5 million acres in size, which is approximately the size of the state of Delaware for comparison. And there are only 2 grocery stores that sell fresh fruits and vegetables on the reservation, both in Browning. So even just having places to purchase food and physical access to food is a big contributing factor to food insecurity. There's a lot of consequences that we see coming from childhood food insecurity. There are physical health consequences, for example, obesity, and a lot of times people think that's kind of counterintuitive. How does food insecurity relate to obesity? But families who live on fixed incomes have to ration their food throughout the month, and so maybe for the first couple weeks they're eating meals regularly, but then as time goes on and money is running out, people ration the food that they're eating, and maybe they're skipping meals, maybe they're increasing the time that they're eating in between their portions. And when that happens, our cycle of deprivation and then also maybe overeating the next month causes metabolic changes in the body and teaches the body to store everything that we consume as fat as a survival mechanism. So those two are definitely interrelated. There are also mental health implications to food insecurity. Whether you're a child or an adult or a senior citizen, if you need food and can't get it and don't know where you're going to get it, that creates insane amounts of stress and anxiety and depression. So there are definitely long-term mental health implications from food insecurity as well. That creates physical complications and mental health complications really lead to economic costs down the road, right? So decreased workforce productivity and maybe lower educational attainment and all of that stuff that we have to think about when building a stronger Montana and more economically viable Montana for the future. So what is No Kid Hungry doing about food insecurity? So we work on a variety of different initiatives. One of our big ones is National School Breakfast. So National School Breakfast is a federally funded nutrition program that has existed for a long time but does not function well because of how it's operated. So breakfast is served in schools around 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m. and average participation rates are between 35 and 40%. So not very many kids are eating breakfast at that hour at school for a variety of different reasons, whether that's because parents can't get them to school early, maybe buses are running late, maybe kids are playing out on the playground. And so No Kid Hungry gives grant funding to schools to move that breakfast from before school to after the start of the school day. And participation rates go up to 75 and 80% when we do that. Since Governor Bullock has taken office, our breakfast participation has gone up by 34%, and that's happened over a pretty quick time period. So in the 2016-2017 school year, we were ranked 34th in the nation for school breakfast, and we jumped up to 23rd within just 1 year's time of working on school breakfast. So that's been a big reason why our child food insecurity rate has been able to drop. We also work on the summer meal program, which offers meals to kids during the summer months when school's not in session. No Kid Hungry has given over $160,000 in grants to Montana communities to start their own summer meal programs and support existing ones. And we also give grant funding to mobile meal solutions because transportation and getting kids to summer meal sites can be a big challenge. So our grant funding goes to support mobile meal solutions in the state as well. No Kid Hungry works on nutrition, and we pay for education for food service directors to learn more about taking sugar out of school menus and doing more scratch cooking and bulk food, but we also want access to really nutritious foods. And our final initiative is Amplify Montana, which is basically our efforts to build the leadership skills and influence of people who have firsthand experience with poverty and food insecurity. I want to emphasize that people being able to be successful and be self-sufficient is a bipartisan agenda, and it's really something that Montanans want, it's something legislators want, it's something organizations and community members want. But it's not always possible because of some of the conditions that we live in. People with first-hand experience can really explain why sometimes our system is inefficient because they've lived it. So our work to build relationships with community members is meant to help bring their voice to the table when discussing programmatic and policy solutions, and to bring their voice present so that we can have the best functioning system possible. So with that, I would like to introduce Elaina, who is a community member here at Helena, who's going to share a little bit of her personal story with all of you today.
Hi, my name is Elaina Patten. I grew up in Rollins, Wyoming, and moved to Helena when I was 29. I am a mother of 2 children, Adriana and Justin, and I am a member of the No Kid Hungry Speakers Bureau, which is a group that focuses on building the leadership skills of people who have experienced poverty and food insecurity in Montana. We speak about our experiences to teach others about the hardships that many Montanans face. I'd like to share a little bit of my own story with you today. I was born into poverty and have experienced poverty for much of my life. When I was growing up in Wyoming, we moved frequently for my dad to find work because he struggled to hold down a job. My mother was always very strong and did everything she could to provide for us throughout childhood. While she and my dad were married, she put herself through nursing school, and then my parents divorced when I was 6 years old. My mom worked upwards of 60 hours a week as the director of nurses at 2 different facilities to keep a roof over our heads and ensure we had the basic necessities. By the time I was 12, my mom was often working double shifts, 5 to 6 days a week. Although she worked as much as she did, nearly all of her income was going to household bills. I spent a lot of time at friends' houses, eating dinner because my mom was always working. We almost never had sit-down dinners as a family, and dinners were quick and not healthy. I had my first child at 17 years old, and she was born blind with a variety of other medical issues. I unfortunately have no health insurance at this time, so I quickly accumulated over $20,000 in medical debt. To cover the cost of her birth. After my second child was born, their father was hit by a truck and killed. Leaving me by myself to raise and take care of 2 children. My own mother helped me with my 2 children, but when she passed away a few years later, things became even more financially strained for me because I now had to take care of 2 kids, myself, and 2 siblings. Because my children's father died, we qualified for survivor benefits, and Adriana received Social Security. However, we still struggled. We used SNAP and WIC to buy groceries, and WIC helped me afford the special formula that Adriana needed when she was young. After a little while, I got a job at Walmart and worked there for 2 years. This helped us financially, but eventually my son got sick with swine flu. I caught it from him as well, and was out of work for 3 weeks while I took care of us both. Walmart chose not to work with me at this time, and I was fired when I returned because I needed the extended leave. And the next year, we moved to Helena to be closer to family and in hopes of more job opportunities and a better life. Unfortunately, we still struggle. For me, securing a job in Helena was challenging because many employers did not understand that I am my daughter's caretaker. With her special needs, finding a sitter that I trust has proven nearly impossible. And I find that most times I have to take her to work with me. We were living on our fixed income of survivor benefits and Social Security for a while, which makes trying to save money for emergencies like car repairs nearly impossible. A few months ago, I was able to get a job at a local daycare that allows me to bring Adriana to work, which has been very exciting for us. It's important to know that food insecurity and poverty are complicated issues, and people experience them for many different reasons. People need to rely on public assistance for lots of different reasons too, like the cost of housing, affording trustworthy and reliable daycare, medical debt and expenses, and especially jobs that don't pay enough to provide for a family's needs. Oftentimes we hear bullying statements towards people with financial struggles. We hear it in the tone from media, social media, neighbors, and even our own family members. We hear statements from people about how their tax dollars are going to all these worthless people who are just lazy. We hear things like, these lowlifes just don't want to work. It has personally caused me to feel ashamed and embarrassed. People often make judgments about others without knowing their situation. These judgments can cause anxiety and fear, as well as depression for those struggling financially. It's important to understand that people are trying. People want a better life for themselves. But it is very hard and very scary to escape poverty, especially when you are born into it. The way the system is set up makes it difficult to get on your feet and off of assistance. Many people who are low income and are on assistance tend to be running behind on larger bills like utilities and rent due to everyday expenses that come up. Then when you get a job, or you get a raise at your job that is high enough to make you lose your benefits, the transition can be really tough because you lose your benefits immediately. I have a friend who was going to lose her benefits before she even received her first paycheck at her new job. So she turned the job down out of fear for not being able to pay her bills during those few short weeks in between. People do not have enough time to get caught up and pay bills that they are behind on, pay off debts, or create a small savings for emergencies. That is why people often end up back on assistance later down the road. The transition off assistance is not only hard, but also very scary. When you live on a fixed budget, you at least know you can afford, and even though you have to be strict and can't purchase extra things, you know that your family will eat, have a roof over their heads, when you get a job and come off assistance, it leaves you feeling worried and afraid you won't be able to catch up and keep up with your bills. Many low-income people work service jobs at restaurants or hotels, and they depend on their shifts at work to provide for their families. What happens if I don't get all the hours I needed to provide for my family this week? What if I get sick and need to miss a shift? What if my children have an emergency and I can't work for a few days? When you are living on the edge financially, every dollar counts. And it can be scary going from living on a small fixed budget of assistance to working a job that may or may not provide the money your family needs. Many people go from barely having enough to pay basic expenses to getting a job and living in fear that they may not have enough to feed their family for the full month. I believe there should be a grace period of 3 to 6 months to give some time to allow people to get caught up and figure out what their new budget is going to be before their assistance is taken from them. I am now working at a daycare and off SNAP and housing assistance, but we do still struggle financially. We live paycheck to paycheck, which makes it tough when typically life emergencies happen. Like needing your car repair or flu medication, it is scary knowing that something can happen any day that might make it impossible to pay rent that month or for groceries. I appreciate you all taking the time to listen to my story today. Everyone has their own story and their own struggles, and those who have experienced poverty must have a voice and a role in decision making. People who have first-hand experience must have input in how to solve these problems in our community and in our policies because we've lived it. And we fully understand what it's like. I encourage you to try and build relationships with people who struggle that you may not normally meet or befriend. Don't judge people for their situations or decisions, and instead get to know and understand them. Everyone deserves to be treated with respect, and I hope you remember my story as you continue to work towards building a healthier and stronger Montana. Thank you.
So just to recap what was all happening today, it was just to make you guys more aware of all the different income classes that are out there. Just a reminder that on Wednesday, April 10th, so this Wednesday, it's Wear Orange Wednesday to fight childhood hunger. So it's just to remember how many high school students are alone and don't have regular meals all the time. And also there are the orange envelopes on the table if you would like to make donations towards the Capitol Food Pantry and also the Helena Food Pantry. Thank you for coming.